right. Good morning, everyone. So before we start with our talk today, I'd like to invite you again to our seminar, reflective meeting that will happen next week, starting on Friday until Saturday. So we'll be talking about, the theme will be Jesus, the model and guide for the family in light of the gospel of Jesus. It's our spirit desire, who Alirio and Heitor will be here guiding us through very important reflections about Jesus and how we can use him as a model and guide for our family. And I will be using a tiny bit of this, of the theme of the seminar into my lecture today, just to give you a teaser and a taste. And that's the reason why I decided to talk about the guardian angels when we were studying this seminar. So I invite you, everybody, to join us. So let's start with our text. So today I'll be using The Way, the Truth, and the Life. Text number 66. How do you ask? Until now you have not asked for anything in my name. Ask and you receive, so that your joy may be complete. Jesus, John chapter 16, verse 24. Everywhere we go, we come across people who are disillusioned with prayer. Did not Jesus promise that heaven would answer those who ask in his name? Many hearts are downhearted because death has robbed them of a friend, or because unexpected tragedy has stricken their pathway. Nevertheless, we will say it again. The Divine Master taught us that we should ask in his name. Because of this, in the mechanism of spirit manifestations, faithful souls convinced of their fragility should question their conscience about their content of their prayers to the Supreme Lord. Are they really asking in the name of Christ, or are they asking in the name of the world's vanities? Complaining because of the arbitrariness that often darkens the pathway of the heart is the same as throwing the dust of earthly troubles at the Divine Son. But asking in Jesus' name means accepting his wise, loving will and earnestly surrender to him, so that we may be given that is really necessary. It is only by this act of perfect comprehension of his sublime love that we find complete delight and unbounded joy. Observe the substance of your prayers. How do you ask? In the Word's name or in Christ's? Those who are discouraged with prayer are confessing the childishness of what they are asking for. Let us pray. So let's raise our thoughts, our conscience, to our Father God, to our Master Jesus. And once again, express our gratitude to be here one more Sunday morning to learn a little bit more about this comforting doctrine. Let's be thankful for this house of love that is a point of light, a point of hope, not only in this city, but in this province and in this country. Let's ask to our guardian angels, our protective spirits, that we'll be talking about them today and the importance of us to connect to them. So let's try and start that connection, concentrating to start incorporating all their guides and advices in our thoughts. Let's ask not only for our guardian angels, but the protective spirits, the team of this house, to bless this meeting and to guide us with fruitful conversation. So be it. Ah, já tá. Sorry. So today we're going to talk about understanding the importance of connecting to our guardian angels. So the references that I use to create this talk is the Spirit's book. There's a whole chapter in the Spirit's book that talked about the guardian angels, the family of higher spirits. I encourage everyone to take a look. Unfortunately, we won't be able to go through all the questions, but some of them. There's also a study or a talk from Cosme Massi that he goes through some key questions about the Spirit's book. And also, there is after question 495, which we will be talking about today, there's a whole description or a text from St. Louis and St. Augustine that I was not aware about it, and it's, in my opinion at this point, one of the most comforting texts that I've read so far, that talks about how to understand the guardian angels as a divine law. So we're going to focus today on that text. And also, as I mentioned in the beginning, one of the reasons it caught my attention to learn more and to talk more about our guardian angels was when we were studying about Jesus' model and guide for the family, which will be our seminar next week, where Alírio Cerqueira Filho mentions how important and how one of the ways to connect to the love that Jesus represents. So, some reflections for us we don't need to answer it out loud, but for us to think about is, how do I react when facing a challenging situation? What are my thoughts and what are my attitudes? Similarly, when I'm facing those challenging situations, who do I ask for help? And last, how do I feel God's love in my journey for the betterment? So, just to set some context, as I mentioned, we will be talking next week about Jesus' model and guide for the family. And our group, the doctrinal group, has been studying some of those lectures that have been recorded in Mato Grosso. And Alírio describes this self-developing, changing process. And in that changing process, he goes through, I think, 6 steps of generally how we go through that. And I'm not going to talk about those 6 steps, but 2 of those caught my attention right in the beginning. And the second one, which is the one that we're going to focus today, is how to connect to that God's love, which Jesus and God's love, which is a little bit different sometimes of what we are used to see when sometimes people will just go somewhere and just say, hey, Jesus just saved me, which seems to be a little bit more passive than active of I going towards what Jesus represents in love. So in that first step, it's important that we recognize, right, that there's something that needs to change. If there is something that needs to change, most of the time within us, because the leader describes that we are the cause of the trouble, right? But we are also the cause of the solution. So we are in charge of everything. So after recognizing that, okay, I play a major role in something that is happening. It can be a family situation, it can be any situation that you might be struggle and might be a trial that you will be going through. So once you find or you acknowledge, okay, I am the cause for that, most of the time there will be kind of a burden. It's like, oh, maybe that's a little bit not heavy, but you are aware that there's something that needs to be worked on. And Jesus and God doesn't let us just with that burden on our back, right? He, through that passage from the Gospel of Matthew, I think a lot of people are aware, there's a, come to me and all you who are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest. So that come to me is that, okay, now that you recognize there's something that needs to change, you can find that, you can alleviate that burden. You can alleviate some of the troubles with me. So there is that comforting that we are not alone and that we are able to do whatever it takes to solve whatever problem that we might be facing. But that come to me, as I mentioned, is not only that saying, hey, I found Jesus, Jesus saved me. There is more to that. There is come to me, is come to the love that Jesus represents, right? And who will, and that come to me is there's another connotation or another interpretation. You can ask for help. You are not alone, right? And there's another passage that Alirio mentioned about what would Jesus recommend us when asking for help. So Jesus said, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. So, if Jesus can give us all the assistance for us to go through our journey, who will be that, I want to say person, or who should we go to ask for that help? Who will help us? Yes, exactly. So that love is also represented through our guardian angels, right? They have a mission. They are there for a purpose. And so let's see what the Spirit's book, who are the guardian angels? So in question 490, what should we understand by the expression guardian angel? So Kardec, the Spirit's answer, it's a high order protective spirit. So as we know in the beginning of the Spirit's books, there is an order or a classification. I don't know if the classification would be the right word in English, where we have the inferior or lower level, lower order spirits, and then we have the higher order spirits. So in those cases, for us, that we are still in the lower order of spirits, our guardian angels will be a spirit, a superior spirit, in most of the case, in that higher order, that will be there guiding us. And what will be the mission of this guardian angel for us? So Kardec asks exactly that question. What is the mission of a protective spirit? What do you think? What could be the mission of the spirit for us? To protect. What else? How do they protect? What are some of the mechanisms of protecting? Guiding. What else? How do they guide? Intuitions. Exactly. So similar to that of parents to their children, to lead their wards. Wards are protege, down the right path. Give them advice, comforting or consoling them when they're sick or suffering, and support their courage in the trials of human life. So how do they assist you? So in those advices, in those guidance, intuitions, how does that happen? So Alirio mentioned that the manifestation of a guardian angel might be as a friend, right? Might be as a friend in the Spirit's team and the Spirit's movement, that once you are maybe struggling, the guardian angel might guide that friend and might use the intuition of that friend to give you some good advice, or to clarify, or to shine some light into some of the troubles that you might going through. Another one that Moura said might be by intuition, right? If as we go through, and we're going to talk more about a little bit further, as we connect to that guardian angel, he or that guardian angel will be able, through our thoughts, to influence and to tell us or suggest us some paths or some alternatives that we might go through or might choose to avoid some of the troubles that we might face in our life. Another way that a guardian angel might help us is through when we go to sleep. So Leo mentioned that if we pray, right, with faith, with confidence, that guardian angel might take you to schools, or might bring other spirits to talk to us and to guide us and to help us with whatever issue that we might be facing during our sleep. But it's important, a little mention, that that's one of the steps, right? That's one of the phases that, okay, I recognize I might feel burdened, I need to alleviate. But that doesn't say that, okay, now I'm going to outsource all my issues to that guardian angel, right? And say, all right, today, let's see my list. I'm going to ask for them to solve problem X. It's not in that way, right? Otherwise, where's the merit? Where is our learning path to go through those trials and expiations and learn through it? Where's the effort? Exactly. So it comes, that alleviation comes from the outside, but after that, we need to put the effort. We need to action whatever that guidance or whatever that advice, we need to put that into action. So it's important that we understand the role of that guardian angel, and we just don't outsource and let them do whatever we are supposed to do. So in question 495, Kardec asks, do protective spirits ever abandon their charges when the latter continuously ignore their guidance? The latter will be us, right? What do you think? Do you think that they will be tired, say, can't take Luis anymore, too much work, I'm going to give up on this mission? Do you think that happens? No. So what happens then when I decided not to follow or to block whatever communication I don't want to have with my guardian angel?
Our behavior.
Sorry?
I think we block that communication not from the angel but from us.
Yes. It's kind of in our side that we close the channel, right? But in their side,
they will
still there.
Be there.
Exactly.
When you want to
reestablish that communication. Absolutely. So the spirits withdraw from their charges when they see that their guidance is fruitless, and their charges are, and I like this word, stubbornly. Because every time I saw this word, I think 2 or 3 times, I said, let's reflect myself. How stubborn am I when I'm in this life, right? So, determines to yield to the influence of inferior spirits. However, they are never entirely abandoned, and the spirits continue to make themselves heard. Their wards or proteges are the ones who shut their ears. As soon as incarnates call them back, the spirits will return. As we just mentioned. We might block, might close that window, but they're still there. And as soon as I realize, and I can go back to that first step, that I realize, okay, the challenges I face, I am the cause of those challenges, and I also the cause of the solutions. So once I bring that awareness and I turn the channel on again, they will be there helping us and guiding us.
Maybe sometimes it's interesting because also they go to people that are nearby us when we block this communication to try to reconnect. Like so, for example, if I'm blocking my connection with my spirit guide, they might inspire a friend or a family to try to reconnect. To reconnect,
yeah. I think, and we're going to see now this text, which I thought is beautiful, how they are there for you at any time. It's just, as we mentioned, God doesn't move far from us. It's we move away. We depart from God. And this is another example of how we can depart from the guardian angel. But the guardian angel is always there. So let's look at this text. This is a text right after question 495. St. Louis and St. Augustine talks about the guardian angels and how important and how comforting is this for us here, especially here in this planet of trial and expiation. So both start. If there's any theory that could win over the biggest skeptics by its charm and beauty, is that of guardian angels. To think that you always have a superior being by your side, ready to guide you, support you, and help boost you in climbing the mountain of self-betterment, whose friendship is more devoted than the most intimate relationship or union that you can make on earth, is a source of great solace or alleviation. So I thought that just the beginning, I thought it was just beautiful, this part, and very comforting that God provides us this guidance, that God doesn't leave us like, yeah, do it yourself, DIY. No, there is this this help that we can ask at any time that we feel like we need some help. When I was going through Cosme Massi lecture about this topic, he connects the guardian angels, the protective spirits, as a divine law. Because it's a mandate, and we're going to say a little bit later, God determines that every single one of us is not half, it's not maybe one another will have. Every single one will have your guardian angel. And it shows one of the attributes. Remember the 8 attributes of God? One of those are the supreme goodness and just. So it's such a beautiful demonstration of God's goodness to give us this help for us to go through our journey. Because if we even draw another connection, there's the attribute of God, and also when you go to question 115, when the Kardec asks, have all the spirits, what's the question again? Have all the spirits been created simple and in ignorance? No, that's not the question.
Or evil.
Or
Bad
or evil. Jesus Christ, sorry.
Evil or
the
good.
Portuguese and English are all wrong. And the answer is no, they're all created simple and ignorant. And within that simplicity and ignorance, he provides us this another help to help us in that ignorance space, right? In that simplicity space. And we, as we know, God doesn't give us a mission that we cannot fulfill. So with our capabilities, we decide what we want to learn and how we want to grow, and we can use that leverage to our advantage of our guardian angel. And another beautiful thing in this text is whose friendship is more devoted. Why do you think this friendship is more devoted? Why do you think our guardian angels are our friends? What are one of the reasons? Why do those spirits have that relationship with us? Why are they our friends? Because sometimes we don't, not that we don't treat them well, but we don't hear them, but they're still there, and they're still our friends. Why do they keep as our friends?
That's also their mission.
Because their mission. What else?
They have unconditional love.
Exactly. And why do they have unconditional love?
Because they're superior spirits.
Exactly. What are some of the characteristics of those superior spirits? Is the absence of
Egoistic feelings.
evil or egoistic feelings. So those superior spirits, do you think that they will, as soon as Louise are stubborn and say, "Damn, Louise, I'm so mad at you that you didn't follow me," do you think that they would react like that? I don't think so. Because, hopefully, but according to the literature, if they are superior spirits, they've managed, right, to develop those virtues. And they will be all love and always there to help us. So that characteristic, being a higher order spirit, we can always trust. We don't need to be afraid. It's like, today I think I'm not going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell maybe 80% of the truth. No, we can open our hearts to those spirits because they will always have love for us.
And then they will know if we're not telling
Yeah,
the truth.
that's
Exactly. I'm going to talk about that. So it continues.
Someone wanna ask a question?
Yeah.
Please, one
Oh,
thing,
sorry.
that's okay. Another thing that we could just to make it easier for us to see this, when they say on the previous slide about this will be the most intimate union,
Mm-hmm.
and if you think that the most representative of the love of God of ourselves in earth will be the love of the mom to their children, if they're telling us that this spirit guide will be even most intimate union, will be even bigger and more important than this one that will be the relationship that we have with our moms or the kids have with the mom as well. So if you just think about this, like, oh, there's someone there that loves me more than my mom, you are, oh my God, that's incredible, and then it will be easier for us to see. It's just a way to
To establish that comparison, right?
yeah, it's just
Mm-hmm.
for me when I did this comparison it was easy to understand this part.
Yeah. You sometimes it's easier maybe to put a finger, right? Because if I have such great love for our parents, and then there's something even bigger, wow, it becomes even more tangible that this exists. Yeah. And there is this comparison of parents, right? So these beings are there at God's orders. So again, as a divine law, everybody has the ability to connect with our guardian angels. It was God who has placed them at your side. They are there out of their love for God, and they fulfill an honorable but challenging mission. Why do you think it's challenging for them? We've been talking about that. Why is a challenge?
I guess because if you're not having positive thoughts, if you're just going to a path that is not aligned with divine laws, you're not going to be open to have those intuitions from your guardian angel.
Yeah. And why some... Sorry?
We are stubborn.
Exactly. And why do we have those struggles here? Because we are imperfect. We are imperfect spirits, right? So, we know that we are imperfect spirits. Sometimes, as a parent, if we establish that analogy, parents and kids, I'm not a parent, but it is a challenge to raise a kid, right? Why it is a challenge to raise a kid? Will the kid listen every time?
No.
Not every
Yeah,
time.
If it's evolved spirit.
Yeah,
right?
maybe. But let's take the
It was
more the
interesting.
average, right?
If you allow me,
Yep.
it was interesting because yesterday there was, actually today was still happening, the seminar in Montreal, and they are talking about what we're gonna talk here later on the lunch and learn
Mm-hmm.
about the wellness relationship between parents and kids. And one question came from the team asking a little about the crystal kids, the indigo kids, and the question was, I don't know what to do with my kids because they challenge me, but they challenge me in such a smart way that I think a little basic answer here, the lady, look, do you think it's evolved spirit would challenge parents? If it's for the good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second, the most revelation that we have is the most spirits that are imperfect, or what's called even evil, are incarnated now.
Yeah.
Most of the spirits who are incarnated.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are in a planet of 8
Sure.
billion people,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 million are crystal kids.
Yeah.
So just for us to think, because we expect our kids, and I am a parent, I expect my kids to be very evolved, but we have to come back to reality because they have their issues.
Yeah.
And superior spirits, they have already passed through this phase.
Mm-hmm.
We can see really their action since the beginning. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Just a parenthesis.
Yeah, no, thank you. But another piece of that imperfect characteristic that we have, not only we're stubborn most of the time, I include myself on that, not only we sometimes don't listen, but sometimes we are ungrateful, right? We complain a lot, even though we are giving this opportunity for to learn, and we complain about life, right? So that's why, that's my understanding. That's why it's hard. It's a tough challenge because they are there doing all their best in that mission, and we are here complaining. Oh, damn it! I didn't get that job, or my life sucks, or what have you. But they're like, okay, I'm gonna stick with you, Luis, and I'm gonna help you. But it's that challenge, right? And as I mentioned, that analogy between parents when raising a rebel kid. So the two spirits continue. Wherever you go, prison, solitude, hospitals, or even the lowest homes and taverns, They are by your side. Nothing ever separates you from your invisible friend, whose presence you cannot see, but from whom your soul receives the gentle impulsions and hears the wisest counsels. So do you think that sometimes our guardian angel will be in a different dimension and put a hit on pause and say, not available, cannot talk to you? Do you think that's possible?
No disturb.
I'm not disturbed. I'm offline today. No, right? So wherever we are, there is, for God, there's no place that's not sacred. Right? So our guardian angels will be everywhere, anywhere. There's no physical limitation that will say, no, can't talk to you, too busy, I'm so far away from you right now. Right? Even if we are in a complicated, a complicated situation in our family, in our house, in our country, what have you, or even within ourselves, we're in a complicated situation, our guardian angels are there to help us.
I guess, and then when comes our part, doing our part, when we feel like that, it's when we have to keep practicing the virtues, to be patient, to be grateful for everything. Have all the virtues that we know are connected, and this will help us to listen to them.
Yeah, we're going to talk about if we have any people that have more privilege to listen to guardian angels because they're a medium maybe, or others don't have the privilege. We're going to talk about that. So if only you truly grasp this truth, it would help you in your moments of need and save you from the traps of malicious spirits. But how many times on the great day, this angel of goodness will have to say to you, did I not warn you? Yet you would not follow my lead? Did I not show you the abyss and you insisted on throwing yourself into it? Did I not speak the truth to your conscience and you followed devious suggestion? So here is the reflection. Why we're not using the divine laws to our advantage? Why, if the guardian angels, our superior spirits are there to help us, why you're not using it? So my reflection is every moment of my life, good or bad, I can ask for help. I can take advantage of this God's law that I can find assistance, comforting from that guardian angel. Communicate with your guardian angels and establish the affectionate intimacy that exists between loyal friends. Do not try to hide anything from them. Do not think of hiding anything from them because they are God's eyes. So, do we have privilege? Do you think that God will give this law and whomever is a medium will be able to talk to guardian angels, and who is not a medium in the sense of psychographic will be able to talk? No, right? Everybody. So that's, Cosme mentioned, that's why in the medium book, Kardec says that everyone is a medium. Not in the narrow sense of medium to be able to psychograph or something, but medium to be able to connect with those guardian angels and with those thoughts and those advice that they give you. What else? What about this? We talked a little bit about before. Do not try to hide anything from them. Do not think of hiding anything from them because they're God's eyes. So can we lie? Would that help? It doesn't help, right? that again for me reinforces the importance of speaking the truth. And it's interesting if we are, when we learn here, when you have our masks, can we use our masks with our guardian angels? No. They will be able, because they are God's eyes, and they will be able to tell us if we are not being truth, and if you are trying to trick ourselves.
Your conscience will always be there.
Yeah, there's a lot of mechanisms that can help us to avoid those movements when we try to deceive ourselves. Think of the future and try to advance upward. This will shorten your trials and make your lives happier. Come, take heart. Cast away all preconceived notions and reservations, and boldly travel the new road that opens before you. Go forth. You have guides. All you have to do is follow them. Your goal cannot fail you, for your goal is God. So here again, encouraging us to walk towards God, right? Fulfilling those divine laws and asking for assistance from those guides, because they can help us in our trials. They can help us to become happier. If you're in conflict, ask. If we're going through a challenging, ask. There's no limit. In your life, you have 100 asks. Use it wisely. Right? We don't have that. To those who find it impossible to believe that high spirits would commit to such a grueling task requiring infinite patience, we respond that these spirits influence your souls from afar. Space is nothing to us, and our spirits can be connected to yours from worlds away. Here, just reinforces. It does that superior spirit Cosme mentioned. It can be in a whole different world. There's no physical limitation. But let's understand why there's no physical limitation. Why can they be anywhere and we can connect with them? There's got to be a reason. What is that reason? That it doesn't matter where we are, they can connect with us.
They're not physically connected with you.
They're not physically. How they are connecting them? How do we connect with our guardian angels?
With our thoughts.
Exactly.
Our
It's
prayers,
sorry?
our prayers.
Our prayers. So if it's with our thoughts, do we use a building for our thoughts? No. It's all through here, through our conscience, right? So the connection between the protector and protégés, it's neither a physical or it's a mental connection, right? They capture our feelings and thoughts, whatever we are. Because, again, they are in a higher order spirits. They are more developed than us. And they are able to provide us with any advice that we ask for. So we don't have to be worried if they're busy. Because they can feel our feelings and thoughts, and they will be able to guide us. We possess qualities that you cannot fathom. And rest assured that God has not given us a task that is beyond our strength. God has not abandoned you on earth without friends and support. All guardian angels have their wards, over whom they watch like parents watch over their children. They are elected when they see them following the right road, and saddened when their guidance is ignored. How do you feel about this? Rest assured that God has not given us a task that is beyond our strength. What does that tell you about our guardian angel?
They have answers.
They have answers. What else? I like the rest assured.
That it's a fair task that everybody, that all of us carry.
Us carry or the guardian angels carry?
Us. But then the guardian angels can guide us because it's a fair test to us, so he knows we're going to be able to go through it.
Is it a fair test to the guardian angel? Does God give anyone a mission that person cannot handle? Exactly. So we can as again another reason that we can trust. Because if we have given a guardian angel, we cannot say, hey, show me your credentials. Let me see all the experience that you have to make sure that you are the right one for me. We don't need that, right? Because if we believe in God and we trust that God has given that guardian angel, that protective spirit, it's the one right for us.
Can I add one thing?
Yep.
I heard that, because the guardian angel knows. But why he knows? Are they have an open door for the secrets of future, maybe? Is that why they know?
Sorry, they know what? They know how to conduct the mission.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do if we will be able to do or not,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why do they let us go through this path because this is safe for you, or don't go through this path because it's not safe? Can they undercover the future, or is it related to something else? This is very important because sometimes we confuse about it. And I can guarantee you, they don't know the future.
Yeah. So how are you asking how are they so well prepared to give us those answers?
Yeah.
How do you think? I have one answer. How are they prepared?
One of the reasons they already have gone to the same path that we are. Right?
Absolutely.
So they know the challenges and they are there to give their experience, so we don't have to go to the same trouble.
Exactly. So they were able to develop those virtues, and they have the experience. And pardon me, if sometimes it's like a coach, right? Or when you finish, in my world, when you have a project and you finish a project, and then you have all the lessons learned, and I can tell the other projects that are doing the same thing that I did, and say, hey, I did that, didn't work. I did that, and that worked.
Right?
Yeah.
I like to use the metaphor of parents and kids.
It's the same.
Right.
It's the same thing, parents and kids, absolutely.
You can see that the kids, they don't know exactly what they're doing, but the way they are going to the oven, to that pan full of boiling water, will put them in danger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Don't be afraid to ask us questions. Always remain connected with us, as it will make you stronger and happier. This communication between human beings and their familiar spirits will eventually make everyone medians. Medians ignored today, but who will show themselves later, spreading out like an ocean without shores to sweep away disbelief and ignorance. Again, we don't have a limit. There's no 50, 100 questions we can ask in our lifetime. It's every single day and every single situation.
And Luis, how do you want to answer us?
How do they answer us?
Yeah.
How do you think? We talk about intuition, and we said that there's no physical aspect of that. So where is the answer coming to? It's coming to my mailbox?
Can be in the dreams too.
Can be in the dreams, can be in our thoughts. It's all through our thoughts. But will we be able to hear those thoughts when I'm just mad that I didn't get that, whatever I want to get?
Nope.
Why not?
Because then you're not connected with them.
If there's no connection, how am I going to be able to listen to that?
And when we say connection, it's nothing exactly connected to.
It's not a hard wire.
That I can see and hear, but inspiration.
Yeah.
Just to make clear it.
What?
In the end of the day, the answers, the right answers, are already there in our conscious, right? What we need to do is be able to access. And sometimes what they do is just they help cross the confuse.
Yeah.
And then make us realize and understand the answers that's already inside. Right?
Anything to add, Fernando?
Oh yeah, it's just, I made a question. I already want an answer for myself as well. It's just because sometimes, even like someone recommends a book, or I see a book, oh my gosh, and then like the book speaks with me. So, and then later inside the book, I can see that, oh, this is an answer of one of my questions.
Yeah.
And or maybe like a conversation with someone, like you even didn't know about what I was wondering, thinking, and then like coincidentally they were just answering me my question.
Yeah.
So,
As we like to say, is there any casuality in this world?
attraction, he's saying it also is attraction between like maybe this person was like inspired by my
Your spiritual guide and say, ooh, Fernando needs some thing on there. There is a whole gamma of spirits that can help and provide that assistance.
By energy, by waves,
Yeah,
by physics.
yeah. There is, Kardec continues, I think in the further questions, when he mentioned that all this interaction between the guardian and us is through the vital fluid, right? If we are immersed in that vital fluid, everything happens through those waves. I don't know, I can picture it, but I think I can grasp the concept, right? And can we just establish that connection tomorrow? If I haven't connected, is that overnight? Now I'm connected. I establish a connection. It's only with practice.
Is it related to faith?
Hmm?
Related to faith? How faith
I think faith plays an important role in it, because if you just, for example, pray of just reading or something very superficial, do we have that connection to God? Do we believe that really exists? I think faith, in my opinion, plays one of the biggest roles.
So that's sometimes what I just picture myself as like a big, like a radio antenna. You capture.
The antenna captures something. The antenna captures something.
Your antenna is pretty good, buddy.
You got it.
Go ahead.
That's
my
basically
power.
the answer. That's the answer.
Yeah. So Cosme, when he kind of elaborates on that, he invites us to establish this permanent dialogue between us and our superior spirits. Those who have received instructions must in turn educate others. Those who are talented must raise their brothers and sisters. You cannot even comprehend what good you can accomplish by doing so. The work imposed on you by God is the work of Christ. Why has God given you intelligence and knowledge if you are not meant to share it with your brothers and sisters, to help them on the road leading to eternal happiness? So here again is the a remind to us, if we are able to establish a little bit of that path, that connection through the antenna, through the thoughts, right? What do? Do we just keep it to ourselves and like, oh, I established my connection. Well, whatever, you can deal with yours. If you are not connected to your angel, your guardian angel, you do it. Is that how you're instructed to react, to behave? No. If we are able, if you have that knowledge, we can help the others that are on their ear, that are maybe struggling or don't know how to do it. Right? Lead by the example. Do to others what we would like to have done to yourself. Oops. I just want to finish. If you're not familiar, the Gospel according to Spiritus, at the end, there is a series of prayers. And there's 3 or 4 prayers dedicated to guardian angels. So I just wrote one. might inspire you. Dear God, allow the good spirits who accompany me to help me when I am in difficulty and uphold me when I falter. Lord, may they inspire me with faith, hope, and charity. May they be a point of support, an inspiration, and a testimony of your mercy. In short, may I always encounter in them the strength that I lack for the tests of life, the strength to resist all evil suggestions, the faith that saves, and the love that consoles. That's it for me. Thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, I encourage you to read this piece. It's really, for me, it was really comforting, really helpful. Yes?
So, when you're trying to establish this connection,
Yeah.
How to know that you're not connecting with lower spirits instead of the highest ones?
How do you think? What are the characteristics of a good feeling and a not so good, an evil feeling?
Because sometimes can they come masquerade on
Yeah, could they be confused?
Can us be confused? Say, is this a good advice or a bad advice? How can we check if that's a good or bad? There is something in us.
Vibes.
The vibe.
The vibe? What else?
Direction.
Vibe, direction,
Attraction.
attraction, sorry.
Or conscious.
I would go with our conscious and I would ask if there is an advice. Would you like, if it's an advice to do something, would you like that something being done to me? If I say, ooh,
Like affinity.
yeah, I don't like if someone gave me a suggestion to do that to me, I wouldn't like to be done that to me. So that for me is a good trigger. This is not a good suggestion to be taken into consideration. Eric.
If you, there is a higher law called justice, love, and charity. Every time that you pass anything through these three parameters, check all of them, it's connected to the higher law. So it must come from superior spirits. If the check doesn't go well, then you gotta think twice.
Fernando.
And also sometimes we are like in a way that we have two options, and the two options would be like similar results to us. So it's like it's not all, they would not making us go to wherever they want us to go for things that we like. Just not a matter of being good or bad, but the decisions in our life that will be different. So they have to also consider our freedom to choose, because this is how do you call this?
Free will.
Free will.
Free will.
Yeah.
So they also have to respect our free will. So this is another way that if you're facing something like that, and they're seeing that they want like to push you to run off things, might not be from superior spirits, because they will always respect your free will.
Yeah. And you could see when we saw the question 495, when you say, yeah, if they would go away, if we don't follow them, they respect our free will. You decide if you ever want to start talking to me again, I'll be there. But I have to respect your free will, because it's up to us to do the work, right?
Though nobody has another question, I have a comment to make.
A comment to make. Go ahead.
First of all, I would like to let you guys know, I'm very glad to tell you this. On the site of the International Spiritist Council, now we have all the Spiritist codification in English to be downloaded. The ones behind Luis are just in here. So this is great, because we didn't have a quality translation yet. And I would like to show you how this is powerful. question that we just reflected with the team, the mediumship team, a few days ago, and I would like to show you how important it is what our dear Luis talked about. When Kardec asks, does prayer make people better? The answer from the Spirit is yes, because those who pray fervently or warmly, whatever is the better word here, and confidently strengthen themselves against the temptation of evil. And look at this, God sends them good spirits to assist them. That's why when we talk about watch and pray, this important teaching from Jesus, we need to understand why we are praying. And why watch? Why watch? The item A, or the consequence of the question, the spirits tell why we don't pray correctly. It's a great deal that we sometimes don't pray correctly. Usually lack of self-examination. We ask external things, other things, but we don't look to ourselves. So watch and pray is a very powerful tool to connect to our guardian angels. So just wanted to show this. It's very, very happy to show that we have the Spiritist codification available in English for everybody, and show how easy it is to navigate as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good, thank you. Okay. We do our final prayer now, right? And then passes.
Let's just double check if
The kids.
will have something. You guys can keep reflect. It was very interesting, the reflection. Se você apertar o botão do meio, não.
Do meio?
Okay, guys, so what did we do today?